As far as the clock on this wall, it says it's 4:30, so we're going to get started. For the Murray City Redevelopment Agency Board of Directors. And the board is here with the exception of Paul Pickett, who is excused. The mayor is also excused, and Kim Sorensen is in his place. Welcome, Kim. Otherwise, everyone else is here. We have the attorney and the rest of the board. So we'll get started, and we're at number 1, which is the approval of minutes of January 20th, 2026. Are there any changes, any questions, concerns about the minutes?
I didn't see any.
Okay, then I would appreciate a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes for January 20th, 2026.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Doesn't sound like it, so the minutes are approved. Number 2, citizen comments. Okay, any citizen comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and email comments will be entered into the meeting record. Do we have any email comments? Not that you're, thank you. Okay. Citizen comments. Okay. Seeing none, we will now go to the public hearing, which is to consider a resolution amending the budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026. Brenda, are you presenting that?
So we have 2 items on this amendment for the RDA board. One is the Cherry Street. I made the assumption when I did the 2026 budget that Cherry Street would have been closed in 25. It was not, and the storm drain system had not been done, so I didn't put any budget in there. So this adds a budget of $42,000. You will see in the action items after this that they say up to a certain amount. This is more accurate as to what's left in that that area. It includes a little bit of interest because it's had money sitting there. And then the other one is Fire Clay. You authorized an additional $400,000 of low-income housing set aside, and I wanted all of that to be paid out of Fire Clay, and they did not have enough budget for that. So that is why I'm increasing the Fire Clay low-income housing set aside, and that's all that is on this budget opening.
Okay. All right, so this is a public hearing. Okay, so we will open it to the public for any questions, any comments. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and take it to the board. Are there any questions for Brenda? Okay, then I would appreciate a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the resolution amending the budget for the fiscal year 2025 through 2026.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay. Brooke, would you call the roll?
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Boland?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye. Okay. Now we are at action item number 4, which is to consider a resolution finding that a detention basin to be constructed at 4580 South Cherry Street in Murray, Utah, benefits the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area. And Chad.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Yeah, this, tonight, our RDA meeting is really focused on one topic. We had that little tiny thing about Fire Clay, tiny $400,000 budget item, but the rest of this discussion is going to be really focused on this Cherry Street area. Outlined in red in that map, this is the one map to rule them all for this particular item. That's the area that we're talking about for the storm drain improvement. State law requires that the RDA board and the city council make a finding that that the expenditure of funds outside of the RDA collection area can show a benefit for that RDA collection area. So this is the detention basin. This detention basin will serve the stormwater from the remainder of Cherry Street and some of the surrounding area there. The idea is that that water will all flow to that detention basin and then will flow on to the storm system from there. So as you can see, it's immediately adjacent to the area. The storm drain from Cherry Street will flow into that detention basin. So our recommendation is that this is a direct benefit to the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area. And we'll talk a little bit about the dissolution of that area in just a moment, but we would recommend that the RDA board approve the resolution making that finding that the detention basin will be a benefit to the Cherry Street project area. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Chad? Okay. Then I would appreciate a motion.
I motion to approve the resolution finding that the detention basin to be constructed at 4580 South Cherry Street in Murray, Utah benefits the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area.
Second?
I'll second that.
All right. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. Roll call.
Mr.
Brooke.
Hawk.
Aye.
Ms. Cotter.
Aye.
Mr. Boland.
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye. Okay, thank you, Board. Now, we are on our fifth action item, which is to consider a resolution approving an agreement requiring the RDA to reimburse Murray City and its Stormwater Division for costs incurred to construct a detention basin at 4580 South Cherry Street, Murray, Utah, resulting in a benefit to the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area. Chad?
Thank you. So again, same topic. This is the next step after the budget amendment that you just approved. We approved a budget amendment that would allow us to spend or to have that $42,000 in the budget. That's really amounts to the fund balance that's left in that Cherry Street RDA area. So this would allow you, this resolution would allow the RDA to reimburse the Murray City Stormwater Division for the costs that they've already incurred some of those costs with this project. They've begun construction of this storm drain improvement, so this would allow for the RDA to reimburse them from that last of the fund balance for the Cherry Street RDA area. So we are recommending that the RDA board approve this resolution, allowing that to happen.
Okay. All right, if there are no questions, I would appreciate a motion.
Could I ask a quick question?
Of course.
With the cost that we incur as a city to do this, do we know like how that compares to other like more recent ones that we've done? So because we're reimbursing, the RDA is reimbursing Murray City for constructing it, is?
So there's a variety of construction costs. Some of that's design. I think some of this is going to be used to reimburse some of the design costs for this. The work itself, I'm not sure how it compares to other detention basins that we've done, but I think predominantly the idea is that this would reimburse the design costs for this particular improvement. Is that right, Brenda? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I presume it's a reasonable cost and reasonable expense. I just wanted to be able to highlight that we're, not reimbursing the city anything more than what a reasonable construction cost for a detention basin would be.
No, not at all. And this is one of those things that we're actually able to do this pretty economically as a city and do some of this work. The design work is something that we will farm out quite a bit, but this is something that we're able to do the work. So
More economically than like farming it out to
Yeah,
a subcontractor.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions at this point? If not, I would appreciate a motion.
I'd like to move and approve the resolution approving an agreement requiring the RDA to reimburse Murray City and its Stormwater Division for costs incurred to construct a detention basin at 4580 South Cherry Street, Murray, Utah, resulting in a benefit to the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the motion? Okay. Hearing none. Brooke, would you call the roll?
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Bullen?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye. Okay. Motion passes. Now we're at 6, which is also an action item to consider a resolution dissolving the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area.
Thank you.
Chad.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like this is like one of those movies that's not told in order. We're kind of bouncing back and forth in time, because really the whole reason why we just did the things that we did is because of this last item. The Cherry Street RDA was created in 1991. It's been around for a while. The collection period ended in 2023. We've had some moving parts that have been going on. We've been talking about building this stormwater infrastructure as a last expenditure from these project area funds. This project area, though, is a good example of a very successful RDA project area. It's done what we wanted it to do. As an example of that, in our last RDA report for the Cherry Street project area, our consultant reported that the taxable value for this area had increased by 1,970% over the last, since 1991, since the period was initiated. So just to give you a comparison, in that same time frame, just general increases in property values in the countywide, were 156%. So that gives you an idea of what these RDA areas can do. This was a blighted area. It was an area that needed some help. That's not to say that these were super high property values to begin with. They weren't. But we have been able to increase those by good use of these RDA funds. So what was done? Storm drain improvements, sewer improvements, improvements to the street, widening sidewalks, all those things that we needed to do to attract business. This business, right here in the middle of your screen, was a business that came in as a result of this reinvestment in the Cherry Street area. That immediately brought our property values up. And what does that do for the city? Well, that increases your tax base. It's a benefit to both the city and the other taxing entities, so the school district, the county, all those other taxing entities. The idea is that when we reinvest with these public dollars, that not only do the property values increase for the property owners, but it also increases our taxable, our tax base for the city. So that, again, this has been a successful area. We're happy for it, but it's time for it to be dissolved. So there's no purpose for it anymore. We've done the work that we wanted to do with this area. This last project will be the last of those projects that we anticipated. Once we've spent that money, we want to dissolve this area. As a side reason for doing this, we have had a property owner that has property, fire engineering company, has property that spans this area. They have property that's outside of the RDA area and property that's inside. For tax purposes, they want to combine their parcels. The county assessor has said they can't do that until this project area is dissolved, because right now those properties are in 2 different taxing districts. So this will enable them to go forward with some work that they want to do. So again, in support of that business, longtime Murray business, this is another good reason for this to be dissolved at this time. So with that, we are recommending that the RDA board approve the resolution dissolving the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area. State law requires that both the RDA board and the city council take action on this item, so you'll see this item in your next meeting as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chad. Any questions for Chad? Okay, if not, I would appreciate a motion.
I move to approve the resolution dissolving the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Is there a discussion on the motion? Okay. Guess not. Then would you take the roll, Brooke?
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Bullen?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Let's see, what I would like to do now is add a number 7, and that would be questions from the board for Chad or Elvon, either one of you. If the board has any questions about
I
what's
do.
going on with the RDA?
Yep, I do. When is the sign that says Triumph on the old City Hall property, when is that going to be removed?
We can get that done fairly quick. I didn't realize it was still there, so we can get that taken down.
The what?
I didn't realize that was still there. We can get that taken down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And number two, has the RFPs gone out for the old City Hall yet?
They have not. We've had a little bit of discussion about this with in the RDA planning meeting. There is a consultant that could potentially help us with this effort. We've been looking into what their costs would be. We think this is a good reputable consultant. I'm not going to mention the name in this particular meeting, but we will have more information about that should we decide to go forward. They're a firm that has a great deal of experience in these public-private partnership type developments, in reviewing pro formas and making sure that when developers request public participation, that it's legitimate. So we are working with them right now. We hope very soon to have that issued.
Okay. And then my next question, and then I think I will be done. When the mayor gets these developers coming in, will the RDA board be part after he has selected, or we select as the RDA board? Will the RDA board be able, or are they planning on to be part of that selection for that old City Hall?
Our plan right now is to issue that RFP. We've talked in the past about having at least a couple of members of the RDA board involved in that selection process.
Because the last time,
Eventually-
all five of us were involved in selecting Triumph.
Eventually, that would be approved by the RDA board, so you would all be involved in that. We probably won't have everyone involved as we review those applications, the initial applications, just because of public meeting requirements, but we would have representation, and all of you would be approving that final selection.
Okay, thank you.
If we remove the sign, do you think we'll get more questions about it sooner? And would we want to wait until we have more?
I don't think so.
Momentum on it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of interest, yeah.
Okay.
Because I have citizens that are asking me, when is this going to start? When is this going to start? When is this going to start? And I'm going, it's not going to start. Well, what's going to go there? I don't know.
Well, there will be something, and we want to make sure we do it the right way, so, yeah.
I'm going to switch directions a little bit. We talked about starting new RDA areas and as we just dissolved Cherry Street. Can you give me a timeline on when we're looking at starting any of them, discussing them? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not sure that I have a timeline, but I can give you an update on where we're at. The first of those that we've kind of looked at would be on the northwest part of town, over toward Commerce Drive, north of 4500 South. We had a developer approach us, it's been about a year ago now, maybe a little bit less than a year, about a potential project in that area. So we thought this could be a great candidate for an RDA, a new community reinvestment area. So we approached the property owner, and there wasn't a lot of interest from the property owner, honestly. And a lot of times when we initiate these areas, we do want to have a project in mind, because the idea is that as we go forward, you want to be able to have some immediate tax increment increase, right? That's the idea, is that you're going to have a project that's going to immediately raise the values of the area so that you can generate tax increment that then can be plowed back into the area. So with that response, it was a little bit lukewarm. We're still considering that, but I guess we'd be looking for projects that would kind of drive the initiation of an area. That's really the only one that we've thought about as far as new areas. We have had some initial conversations with some of the taxing entities about that possibility. They're open to that idea. We're going to continue to, discontinue some of these areas as they play their course, and I think that's the right timing then to go back to the taxing entities and say, hey, we've had a couple of these closed down. We'd like to consider some new ones that could help some of these other areas that need some help. Typically, you're looking at areas where there's a need for additional infrastructure that we can reinvest, again, make a public investment, and then we'll spur private reinvestment in the area. So that's what we would hope to do. The property that I talked about has some potential need for sewer upgrades and other things that we could again contribute to that as a way to hopefully initiate some development on the property. So no timing. We want to, there are other properties in that area that could potentially benefit from the adoption of we call them RDAs, they have a different name in state law now, CRAs, but that's a conversation we want to continue. We're still in conversations with the ore sampling mill folks, the folks that are looking to develop that site. We've had some recent conversations with them. They're just about finished with their environmental cleanup of that site. And we've had some discussions about what exactly that development will look like. One of the challenges is that when that was approved back in 2017, the office market was still pretty hot, and we were looking to put some pretty substantial office space over there. That's cooled substantially, and so we're looking at a possibility to retool that area, but that will come before the board if that does happen.
Okay. Any other questions, or?
Can I just
are
comment?
good?
Is this something you'd like to add to future agendas so we don't violate the Public Meetings Act? That question and answers?
We need to make sure that number 7 is on the agenda before the agenda is posted.
I requested to have it on the agenda before, and then I figured it would be, and it was not, so,
I'm just
and I've
saying,
been
is that
getting,
something you'd like to have going forward?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
We'll make sure it's on there.
Okay.
Yeah, and anyway, because when I'm asked questions, sometimes I don't know the answer, and so it's really helpful to
I'd
have
also
these
say
guys.
that we would, it's an open invitation. If any of you have questions, you can call us anytime. Elvon and I can hopefully try to answer those questions for you, and you're always welcome to give us a call.
That's a good question, Adam, about the ore sampling center. Is that ever going to be improved, or is it always going to be like that? Is he working? I know he keeps saying that there's tailings on there and there's environmental problems, but Bullion was taken care of within a year, year and a half.
Well, what I would suggest is at our next RDA meeting, we can give you, we're in conversations with them right now. We can give you, put it on the agenda and give you a full-fledged update on that site would probably be the best way for us to handle
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I would really like to know what's going on.
we'll do that, and
In
often
the meantime,
you
if one of you
have.
wanted to contact us and we could tell you what's going on, we're not trying to, it's
Oh,
not a secret.
no,
just,
I know that. I
just to
know
make
it
sure
doesn't
we're-
have anything to do
we're
with you.
keeping with our
Oh,
public
no, it
noticing.
just,
Yeah.
it's been going on for 5 years since I've been on the council, and I haven't seen anything. I've seen dirt moved when I drive over there, but
Lots of dirt, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what's it. The
Lots of
update is
movement.
dirt.
the update is dirt. Good, Jeff, I like that.
So Chad, I have more questions about kind of the process for the old city hall, like how we're developing the RFP, what the timeline looks like, but I can take those offline if that's a preference, like.
It's not necessarily preference, but I think just because we failed to put that agenda item on there, we can take those questions offline and
Okay,
be happy to do that.
okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being flexible. I
Yeah, you
really
bet.
appreciate it, and we are adjourned.
He's gonna have to
Am I starting over?
Just Laura.
It's gonna take a minute to.
For the Murray City Council for today, April 21st. First matter of business is a legislative wrap-up. Do we have our,
I saw him in the hallway.
I did too. They were right in the hallway. I saw them walk by.
yeah,
Yeah.
David
No,
Stewart and.
Stuart. I saw Stuart walk by.
I saw them both.
yeah, I saw one of them.
I heard him say they got the 5:30,
So,
Thanks, man.
I think this one's like a grand entrance.
Oh, yes, with the
Oh.
legislative wrap up.
As we're waiting, excusing,
Doing what it should do.
as of right now, Paul Pickett is not in here, he might be calling in. We'll update you.
We'll flip a coin.
Yep, if he calls in, we'll let the minutes know. Alright, let's go.
You want us here?
You're up
Yes.
here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, legislative wrap up with GL, Corey Holdway, and Dave Stewart.
I've got handouts.
Oh, he needed another.
Oh,
More paper.
More trees.
That's right.
oh my
I
God.
believe in killing trees.
That's how democracy works.
The thicker it
Thick
is.
packets.
All right. Thanks for having us. Those of you who may not know, this is Corey Holdaway and David Stewart. These are lobbyists that we have up on the Hill during the legislative session. They do an excellent job. They're very responsive. If I text, if I email, I'm getting a response back immediately, so we appreciate that. And we appreciate the contacts they have up there. They're seasoned veterans, I would say, and do a great job for us. And tonight is just a night for you to ask questions if you have any questions. They have kind of a good feel for what's going on up there and kind of the tone and the tenor and some of the background. So what we typically do is have them start by their impressions of what the session was. And then you ask questions when you have questions. So
Why don't I start if that's okay, David? What I've given you is the wrap-up of the League of Cities and Towns post-legislative session. And it's not all of their wrap-up. I just went through their PowerPoint that they presented to the LPC group, the Legislative Policy Committee, and picked out bills that I felt like may have some relevance or interest for you all. But before I talk a little bit about PAGA, I just want to just emphasize what value the league provides. It truly is an organization that allows cities to punch above their weight. And they are tuned in, they help us to stay tuned in. We're frequently contacted or we're contacting them about the issues that are important that GL brings up to us, and they in turn share with us issues that they see are important to cities. So I can't overemphasize the value of the league in terms of helping us to punch above our weight as a city.
Do other states have a league or?
Yes, yeah, it's a national, each state has their own affiliate, but I think,
wouldn't you be surprised if it's as good as this one?
no, I would not be surprised if it was, I mean.
It's gotta be as good as, I mean,
Yeah,
we're as good as.
we are as
what's
good
out
as
there.
any of the leagues out there. And in fact, the executive director for the League of Cities and Towns, he's a former Marine boy.
Yeah.
Cameron.
All the good ones are from Murray.
Talk to him for 30 seconds, you'll find out.
He'll let you know.
Very proud of him, so.
He is proud of Murray. So anyway, as you, and I'm not gonna go through each of these, obviously. It's mainly informational for you, but the front page, we had a record number of bills introduced again. It seems like every year they introduce more and more and more. This year there was 1,016 bills that they introduced, and I think ended up passing 500 and some. less than last year, but that's not to say that that's a good thing, because a lot of the bills that, just because it was less, what I saw happening is many of the bills that were out there were combined together. And so that, not different ideas, but sometimes not the same. They were put together, and so thus we had fewer bills passed this legislative session.
Why were they doing that? Was it strategic? One idea is bad, one idea is good, and they're balancing it out so that it gets passed?
I think a lot of it is just the volume and recognizing that we're not gonna be able to get my idea through, so how can I combine this with somebody else's and be able to get it through?
Well, and another part of it is because even though they had that many introduced, it's hard to get them drafted, and so you get a bill that's dealing with the same code sections, and it happens to be further along in the process, and you just barely got yours numbered, and you're looking at the time going, there's no way I can get this through. But if I go amend it into this other bill that's halfway through or even almost done, it just has to get concurred with back to the original house, and it's done. And so there's several bills. I mean, I was involved in a couple of those where they were, at first, one bill was contentious, it got worked out, and once there was a compromise, then it could go into the kind of the consensus bill. And so they had run separately because there was 5 issues, one of them was contentious, the other 4 were consensus. So this ran on its own, and this other one, they finally worked it out. So in those things, it makes sense, there's no reason to duplicate. But then to Corey's point, sometimes you get we're gonna shove this into here, and, everybody's gonna have to vote for something they don't like on all of it, but there's a piece of it, some of the politics. But yeah, it's not, just looking at the numbers, it's not necessarily less, bad ideas are passed.
Right.
Which, to be honest, I mean, most bills up there are not necessarily, creating more freedom or doing amazing things. It's usually, punishing something or taking something from here and moving it over there.
Retribution.
Yeah, a lot of retribution, so.
In somebody's best interest.
And on that note, what I'd like to say is there are a couple of issues that I saw that happen, or that we saw that happen, probably more so than others. Economic development being one of those. Representative Roberts from the House was asked to carry some issues related to economic development within the state, and that was combined with a number of other bills. Transportation being another, combining, Senator Harper had a number of bills that combined like bills or bills that transportation related. So in the end, I think if you have questions about a specific bill or whatever, the QR code that is attached, you can just go to that and then pull it up. You see basically what the bill did. But I think what we would like to do is just bring up a couple of issues that I know that the city was interested in. One of those was the library bill. That passed. Representative Stoddard carried that. It passed. That will not be a problem in terms of the auditor anymore. I think it clarified that.
Why do you think they did that? Why did the county do that? Why did they just throw it in with?
This started with, was it called District Downtown Salt Lake? Where the auditor asked one of the county attorneys to look into that section of the code. He came back and said he didn't think that libraries were separate taxing entities. And that's where it started. Then it kind of snowballed into this, well, then let's combine reporting of those. And of course, that kind of makes it a mess for us to be able to explain to our constituents that we didn't just increase your taxes, this is both library at a different rate than the cities. And so it cleaned it up, and it was something Brenda had requested, and Representative Stoddard was great to run it for us. And so but that's where it started.
Okay.
Legal opinion.
Yeah. And frankly, it only affected Murray and Salt Lake. I mean, we were still, able to get it through the way it was. So,
But
But it's just weird that all of a sudden they just did it.
Yeah, that's. what
And
happened.
it's been
Yeah.
going for
Yep.
years and years and years that
Yeah,
they just
exactly.
did it this year.
One of the other things, and Dave, you probably will jump in here on this, is Dan McKay's property tax bill. Property tax was a hot issue throughout the whole legislative session. There were a number of bills dealing with property tax, and McKay's probably was the most troublesome as it was presented. You want to jump in?
Yeah, I think, and as you're aware, I forget the exact, Karen Peterson also had one. That one kind of became the, I don't want to say consensus, because I don't think anybody liked it, but at least the one that was House Bill 236, that ultimately the league worked on and got to a place where it was livable. If you recall, that's kind of dealing with some of the noticing on truth and taxation, raising taxes, building your budget. And now you have to build kind of a budget with and without the tax increase. What would happen? It just creates candidly more work, but again, staring down, going back to Senator McKay's, where he started to cap how much you could raise taxes. It also dealt with surplus and what you could hold there, and just kind of kept, evolving, but never really getting much better. And again, not making a lot of sense. I mean, the funny thing is you had a couple, the things they were mad at were school districts. And early on, they were carved out of the bill, which is always ironic. You're running this bill because the school districts did something you didn't like, but now you're going to carve them out, so the bill you're going to pass doesn't actually, doesn't actually apply. And so, that was certainly a place where the league, and I know, you guys reached out to your representatives and others and made the case. But recognize, I don't see that going away. I mean, I think we're going to continue to see.
I was just gonna add, you think it's gonna come back?
No,
Some
sir.
version of it, it will come back. I mean, this is Dan's, this is a bone that Dan has been.
Now, Dan's likely, we'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah.
But, that's the state convention, and he has two Republican challengers. One that's currently Representative Fia, which is a legit challenger. Nobody in that race has gotten signatures, so whatever happens Saturday will be it. So if either one of them gets 60%, the race is over. I would bet it's a mix between the two. Neither gets 60%, so I think you'll see a
We'll see a
primary.
primary.
And, and if McKay were to lose, but I still think there's enough people that care about property tax and things. I don't see it going away, and they like to, throw out there, the bad couple of examples here and there where, and the funny part is at least almost everyone I'm ever aware of where there's a significant tax increase, it's only because they haven't raised it for a decade or two. So they just haven't done it forever. Now their back's up against the wall. They got to start cutting essential services or raise taxes, and they do it versus doing smaller ones along the way incrementally to do it. And so I think you'll consider, especially you see the House. The House is more and more getting into this. It just seems like wanting to get into how cities and counties work and making it more, transparent and other things. And I just don't see this continual, potential of caps as well as reduction in surplusing. And again, I was talking to another city, and they had it was going to be an unintended consequence where they were part of one of the special districts, and they ultimately decided that they want to get out of that district. Well, when they come out of that district, their residents, they're going to now have to raise the property tax to now provide the service. Well, if McKay's bill had passed, they would not be able to because they can only raise their taxes 5%.
Yeah.
So suddenly they'd be precluded. But the net, if they now provide the service, they can do it cheaper than they're having to pay the special service. So it'd be a net property tax decrease to their citizens, but under McKay's bill, they would have been precluded. So it would have forced them to stay in a less efficient, higher cost for the resident district versus provide it themselves.
Which city was that?
Eagle Mountain City, they're part of it. UPD, UFA, one of the special districts that they're like the only one outside of Salt Lake County that's part of it, but they can actually, as they've done the analysis, provide the service. The funny part is, and I don't understand this nuance, they're in it one way, but if they pulled out and then contracted with the district, it would actually be cheaper than them being in the district. I mean, it's just one of those things where, you get these anecdotal where Senator McKay runs around and says, we got to solve this problem. It's like, great, what are all your unintended ripples that are going to go through of that once you put this in and this hard line?
Throwing a blanket over everybody.
Yeah, and what, Senator McKay, again, and I talked to him several times, he doesn't seem to get as well, is when you do it 5%, your ceiling becomes your floor. You're going to now incentivize, I can't wait, 5-10 years because I can only raise it 5%. So I'll raise it 5% and blame the legislature every year. And you're almost incentivizing, let's raise more taxes just because we don't want to be stuck with some huge, capital outlay that we, suddenly our hands are tied and we can't do it. So all that to be said, I think, I don't see Representative Peterson's bill ultimately taking, it takes out some of the steam. She's actually didn't run for reelection, but I think you'll see continual discussion about property tax.
So, this is a silly question. Why isn't she gonna run? Why isn't she gonna run and try to push this bill through?
She's been in quite a long time.
Oh, has she?
Yeah.
And she's just tired. I mean, she ran for some leadership and to get elected, and candidly, I think she's not probably as aligned, and that caucus is a little more conservative than probably she is. And I think at times she just is, and you're getting several kind of like that. You see it really bad on the national level, and people just frustrated. All kinds of people not running because they're just tired of that. But even here a little bit, I think you get some, it's just, I think, Corey's been there even longer than I've been around between serving and lobbying now, and it's different. It's not, and unfortunately, we used to not be that way, but it's just not as
When I
collegial.
was in the legislature, it was much different
Yeah.
than what it is today.
I think it wears out. I mean, some people
And it's
thrive on
not in a positive way,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
it.
When you were in there, it was a
It was,
positive?
it was
Then
much.
Corey left and all went down.
Yeah.
It went down.
Held it together.
But I mean,
I
but in all
got it.
seriousness, I would say, Corey's here. I mean, but Corey was one of those that was great. I mean, he was, on a lot of issues, probably more moderate. But he was also one that would see and wasn't. It's right now. It seems like so many more just get so pigeonholed into a certain thing, and that's what they are. And there's like, well, I can't be anything. I got to be this crazy, if you will.
And two, I mean, part of it has to do with the leadership team. We've got, and I hesitate,
Say it. Just say it. You're amongst friends.
Yes, this is a.
Whispering.
we've got a challenge in terms of the House and the Senate wanting to drive from the top rather than having ideas come from the caucus. And that's, in my opinion, that's troublesome, so.
And then another bill of
Killing
issue.
bills before they.
Yeah, before we go into another,
sorry.
I want to go back to the McKay's bill. So property tax is gonna keep coming up next year. Is there interest in the cap widespread? Is that something that's gonna come back up next year, or was that shot down enough that it's not really coming back in the future?
I think again, it goes back to the makeup of the body. The makeup of the body
Yeah.
today is more and more interested in some type of cap or Tabor related limitations as far as taxes go. Yeah.
And would this
so
be on
it
the
could be a
county too?
challenge.
Would
Yeah,
this
no,
cap be
yeah.
on the county too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Which, as far as elections go, I mean, now is the time to get involved. I mean, we've got a lot of people running for, every member in the House. Stoddard's got a primary challenge.
I
mean,
was shocked.
I mean, I talked today, we wanted to just encourage you all. You've got more weight today than you did last year because these people are running for reelection. And if they're reaching out to you for an endorsement, press them on issues like this and let them know, look, we're concerned about this as a city. And if you want an endorsement, you need to be aware of issues like this, so.
the answer, I think there's still, I don't think we're gonna have an election, so we're gonna have some changes. And we'll
Yep.
see how that shifts a little bit, but as it stands today, it was certainly, but it wasn't a, resounding smackdown, we're never gonna consider this. It was no, we're not doing this. And candidly, if it's Senator McKay's, I don't see, he's not one to walk away. So he'll just keep hammering it, and eventually you start to wear people down a little bit. But as of today, no, I think we can still beat it back. But I don't think it's such a crazy idea that he wouldn't bring it back.
And it's the League Army, really,
Yeah.
that
That's
was able to
that's-
defeat it.
Yeah, that's the lead one.
So,
And then when I think another bill that GL had reached out to us about is House Bill 501, dealing with water rates, water fees. So that one, as you understand, Representative Boldender's name was on it. That was actually Representative Casey Snyder's bill, who's the majority leader, and likely when Speaker Schultz is done, is likely to be the next speaker. One of his pet issues is water. And it's not all bad. I mean, the reality is, they commissioned now 2 years ago a study to kind of look around and basically say, what's the need out there? And what they came back and, as I recall anyway, it's a little over $1 billion of ongoing need to get water infrastructure up to standard, where it should be. And what they looked at is, okay, if we run this bill and we compel everybody to raise their rates to this level that's been set, that would raise, I think they thought between 600 and 700 million. So they were still about 300 million short that they figured out other ways, but in order to get that ongoing now idea. It's kind of candidly a half-baked, and the funny part is and I was in a lot of discussions with Representative Snyder. I kept being like, this is so great, run it. And let's just pass a state fee. Why do we have to make all these cities? I mean, it's the same. He didn't, well, I don't want to do that. I'm like, yeah, well, guess what? Neither do the cities. I mean, and the hard part was it really candidly needs to be probably at the state level at this point. The hard part is it's been tried since I've been there. And Kurt, you remember, it's been tried several times. About every 8 to 10 years, somebody's like, and we keep kicking the can down the road. And what used to be a $500 million problem probably 20 years ago is now $1 billion. And another 5-10 years, it'll be another $1 billion. And it'll just keep, because there are very few jurisdictions out there that are really truly keeping up with the maintenance and new infrastructure and everything else. And so it's a real issue. And the reason I bring that up is, like I say, he's the majority leader. He's going to be so this isn't going away either. But I think he heard kind of loud and clear. It's like, yeah, there is great. You can make us do this. We are not, there's no way it's happening. We're never going to jack up and the part is it quickly became the largest tax increase ever in state history that he was proposing.
Wasn't it like $200 or something
Well, it
like
depended
that?
on some for
The household.
Per household?
Yeah, depending on which, so it said, this is where you should be. Now, there's a handful of cities that are already above it, very few though, but most are below and some are way below. So it depended, in some areas it was hundreds of dollars.
Yes.
And in other areas it was tens of dollars, but by and large, it was a significant tax increase that literally was $700 million statewide. They were calling it a fee increase, but it was a tax increase. And so there will continue, I think, the reason I bring it up is there will be more ideas creative. They realize, we're fortunate for roads, for instance, we have significant resources dedicated. I mean, we have, over $1 billion now dedicated to road infrastructure. And so the water guys are kind of looking at that saying, look, we need, but the difference is that's for state, we all still have to do local roads and everything else. Well, water's different that other than what they call the Bear River Project, which is up north, and then the Lake Powell Pipeline, which is down south. Those are your only 2 state water projects. Every other water project is regional or local and either funded through a water conservancy district or a city or something like that. So it's a little different model because, the state's looking at going, the $1 billion they're putting into roads are for purely state roads, which there's obviously a lot of those. That doesn't touch the local stuff. Well, on the water side, it's like they have some money set aside to do these other big projects at some point. And so that's kind of that push and pull of either we're going to have a big shift of how water is funded because there's just not an appetite and because part of it is you get these big, huge projects and cities or counties or even districts don't have the appetite to impose the fees needed to do some of those things. So
And the tiered funding and the whole thing like that. I mean, forcing that tiered funding for water is something that I think we're going to see more and more of. So.
And, we're obviously in a water, huge drought. And, if we don't get we'll limp through this year, but if we don't have a good winter, it's going to get a little ugly. Because they're having to release a lot of water down right now we're sitting okay because of what we've done in the past. But if we have another winter like this, it's going to get pretty desperate, I think. So.
The last bill that I would bring up, and this is a bill by Representative Roberts, Cal Roberts' transportation infrastructure bill. This bill didn't pass until the very last night of the session and has a lot of interesting kind of nuance as far as funding projects within cities and things like that. I think there may be some opportunities there. Do you want to?
Yeah, so part of that, and I talked to GL, we were working to actually get some money of what's known as the quarter to fund a road in Murray, and there were several cities. Ultimately, that at the last minute got pulled. No city in Salt Lake County got money because the Speaker of the House had concerns with the process that was, how it was, came together. And so, but in that bill and it's 492, I believe, in there's a couple pieces. There's
Are you
a,
talking about the fuel tax?
no, that's a separate. That one didn't, ultimately, real quick on that, they cut those by a little bit, but backfilled the B and C roads, so the cities and counties were held harmless, so ultimately, that won't affect. Originally, it was going to have a huge impact on you guys, but we were able to get it backfilled to say, look, state, if you think it's such a great idea, that's awesome, we're not quite as flush as you, so we still need that money. And so they added the general fund, backfilled that. This is a separate bill that had a lot of stuff in there. A couple of pieces that would be most applicable here, and that GL, I'd have you probably look through it and see, but there's two different kind of programs. One's a loan program that's statewide, that they put $100 million in, and they're gonna set up criteria, and the idea behind that is to help do lower cost loans for infrastructure, road and water. And to basically help, so you got these, and they're supposed to determine exactly what, affordable, attainable, whatever type of, but basically low income housing or lower income housing. And then the problem we run into, and a lot of cities are running into, is like, look, we'd love to do it. We can't get developers to make it pencil because the infrastructure costs are so high. So the idea is, okay, from the statewide, here's a loan fund that we can now loan at a much subsidized rate that should help, hopefully, help some of those projects. So they're developing rules and everything around that right now, and then there'll be an application process if we
There's a
have.
board that created with the legislation as well. It's House Bill 492 was the bill.
And then there's a second piece of that. So that's the one piece. That's $100 million. Okay.
Dang it.
That's a $100 million loan.
I have tabs.
The bigger piece that you guys would care more about in Salt Lake County only, and because it grabs what's known as, again, the quarter to quarter fund, which are local funds, it creates a $140 million grant program. Now, around 60 to 70 of that is already granted from last year, but there's somewhere between 80 to 90 million that is available. Another committee, like this other one, will be set up to, again, same type of idea, but instead of being a loan, it'll actually be a grant to help, again, offset costs for infrastructure. That could be water, roads, and things like that to help cities. Cities will be the applicants in partnering with the developer to show, okay, here's a project, here it is, we're gonna provide so many units of affordable housing. And they're gonna develop through the rules what those metrics are exactly, because everybody says it, but it means 10 different things to 10 different people, but here's what we're saying, and so if you check these boxes, you're doing this and doing that, you can apply and then get, a grant, but that will only apply to Salt Lake County, so it's a much smaller pool of applicants, and candidly, the $100 million loan, I wouldn't waste a lot of time there, that's gonna be pretty, unless you have a perfect project that happens to fit their criteria, because that's statewide, there's gonna be a lot of interest, and candidly, I think they're gonna give some deference outside of Salt Lake County, because they have this other grant fund for Salt Lake County, and so I would guess you'll see that, that's where I'd focus our energy and see if we happen to have something that's kind of been languishing out there that we've entitled and want to do, but the developer's just saying, I can't make it pencil and meet the criteria, so we should look at that.
So that's where we're at.
Can I just ask a couple of questions? I'll be really, really
You've got
fast.
90 seconds.
Thanks. Okay. House Bill 33S1, the political sign amendments. So where are we supposed to put the political signs? Can we put them in the park strips or not? The park strips on HB 33S1 political sign.
You can.
Pretty sure you can.
You can?
Yes.
Okay, so it's gonna be okay, right?
It's not gonna be
Because-
okay, but you can.
In fact,
Okay,
So
but we can.
Wink, wink,
Okay,
nod, nod.
okay, because the campaigns are happening
That
and,
creates a constitutional law problem,
oh,
that bill, just so you know.
Oh.
We can talk about it offline, though.
okay, all right.
Okay.
One last thing to
Yes.
put on your radar, this a few years out, Grant talked about this, you're gonna wanna get with Riverdale and some of the other cities that back when they did that whole, hold harmless for us and for the other, when they tweaked the sales tax formula that is set to expire 2030,
Oh, the
2031.
0.02, the 2030.
No, I was gonna say, oh my God.
2030.
Yeah, I think it's 2030, so it's coming up. Now, that's something that's gonna, we can talk more, but at some point, we ought to come in and have a conversation about that, how to kind of strategically approach that, partner up with kind of because that's not gonna be something the league's gonna do, because it's only a handful of cities. They'll stay out of that issue because they're gonna have everybody on every site. But it's also something that's gonna take several years. It's not something we're just gonna show up on session and everybody's gonna say, yeah, let's do it. And so,
Getting a
Do you
solid
think there's a
spot.
fighting chance we can keep it?
there's always a chance.
So do we keep it back on
There's
the
a chance an
agenda?
asteroid
or
hits
like-
today too.
It's
What are the
gonna,
next steps? We have another committee of the whole where we
Yeah,
talk about it? Okay.
well,
Yeah, that would be.
and candidly, if,
Strategy. I mean,
Yeah.
there's gonna be some, I think it's gonna require just some additional resources.
Yes, I think-
Both from Riverdale and Murray in order to get that through.
Right.
there'll be, candidly,
Salt Lake.
yeah, we'll need some, Corian will probably need some help. There's gonna be a heavy lift, but I think with the right people and we can have a broader discussion, if possible, I don't know, maybe we can do this in smaller groups. I'd rather if we cannot do it in a public meeting sense, so that we can be very candid about, because the way we're gonna talk about it, I don't really want, it'll make some people mad, so that's, we can be candid about how we're gonna approach this and what we.
I think we'd be very interested in that conversation.
Yeah, I assume, and we're now to that point where it makes sense, because it's close enough, but we're now still far enough that what we don't wanna do is roll up the session before it expires, and we're gonna get it. And so it's gonna take a couple years of building the momentum to get it and do that, so.
that's a great
Okay.
idea.
Yeah. Let's get Brett Peterson as the interim to do that.
There you go.
She's not running for reelection?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for the opportunity to
Yes.
represent.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to agenda item number 2, which is discuss an ordinance amending section 2.51.010 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to the appointment of representatives to governing bodies of interlocal entities and to the Utah League of Cities and Towns Legislative Policy Committee. J.L. Critchfield, you got 10 minutes.
Okay, so how we got here. This was a conversation I had with, I can't remember, one or two of you regarding the appointment of the representative to the Wasatch Front, help me out, Wasatch Front.
Waste and Recycling.
Recycling District, yeah. And it turns out that the actual bylaws there say that the appointment is by the legislative body. We've had it by the mayor for many years. So
Take it off my plate.
So the idea was to move this, and while I was there, I talked to Jennifer Kennedy. There's a few other things that I looked at in terms of having a discussion and possibly changing as well. If you take a look at the ordinance in front of you, what I've done is said there's a group 1 through 9 that will be by the mayor, and then beyond that would be by the city council. That's 10 and 11 basically. So that would move what's now number 7, the Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling District Board, down to the city council. And then you come down to number 10 where you got NeighborWorks. NeighborWorks is not an interlocal entity. Interlocal entities are those where you have two governmental entities to come together by agreement to share resources or whatever. So it seems like you really shouldn't be having one nonprofit sprinkle into your interlocal entities when we can just remember this. I think Elvon's on the board, he'll remind us, this won't be something we need to worry too much about, but it probably shouldn't be in the ordinance, I don't think. So our recommendation is to get rid of that. And then the Community Action Program Board, we no longer have a representative on that board, so that was why that was proposed to be deleted. And then you come down to 10, 11, Association of Municipal Councils, that we needed to add. Jennifer pointed out that we have a representative there, and we just need to put that now in code. And then the final one was the LPC committee. ULCT is an interlocal entity, and this is not actually an appointment to that board. But I think that the policy committee is pretty substantial, pretty important. So I thought that would be good to put in here as well, and make sure we understand it's just the policy committee. But I think that is, when you're talking about with other lawmakers, policies for cities, I think that's pretty important. So that's why that was added to there.
What about when somebody's on like the mayor's the secretary or the treasurer for that? Is that the same thing or is that different?
No, I probably put that in code because that would be something that would be temporary, right? As opposed to these are ongoing relationships we have.
Right.
We'll be there for a while. Yeah, that's a good question.
I got a question about LPC.
Yeah.
On point 3, you have it on or before January 1st of each year.
Mm-hmm.
Why January 1st?
That matches what the mayor does. That's all.
Because I was wondering, 15th kind of seems more, January 15th seems more like it works better because you have the election, if there's like a new election, and let's say people are gone, we don't know what's going on before
Sure.
then, we have a,
Sure.
we know who's on the council at the beginning of the year, so if we did the 15th.
You want it to be, so before the second meeting in January?
Mhm.
On or before the second meeting? Okay,
On before the second meeting,
okay,
that way we can,
That was the whole
Sure,
list of
sure.
names. I like that.
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, okay. That was my thing I had.
Okay, I will add that for the next meeting.
Okay, that's good. Any other questions? All right, thanks, Jill.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Number one is the economic development priorities discussion. Chad Wilkinson presenting. You've got 20 minutes.
We're gaining time.
I'm just trying to give you more time for dinner.
That's
That's
right.
Where for your tabs?
I know, I was like, I could have kept talking to the lobbyists forever.
I know. The whole meeting.
Yes, I'm there.
Thanks for the time. We're happy to kind of talk through a little bit about our economic development priorities. We've got Evelyn here as well. We're going to tag team this a little bit. I think we sent out some information to you all as part of your whole packet related to the general plan. So part of this is we do have direction given to us and priorities given to us in the general plan. We want to talk about three other things though tonight. So the general plan has some things, some priorities, some strategies that are called out. We also have just our own internal economic development priorities, things that we work on a day-to-day basis. And I think it'd be good for the council to kind of understand what we are doing on a day-to-day basis. Then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about an upcoming initiative, which would be an economic development strategic plan. I'm going to let Elvon get into that in more detail when it's his turn. But first of all, just talking about the general plan, here are the objectives for the general plan. There's 7 objectives in the economic development element of the general plan. There's a variety of things. I would say these are not necessarily in rank order in the general plan, but I would say objective number 1 is where we spend quite a bit of our time. Revitalizing downtown East and West of State Street. We're working on that every day. We know that there, a lot of times it may seem like there's great amounts of time going in between, and is anything being done? It is. Some of these things do take time. We're, in relation to the old City Hall site, for example, we are working on that every day, trying to figure out if there's some things that we can do better this time so that we can make this a better process for the developer, for the council, for the community. And we have some potential things that could help that, we think, but it's gonna be whether we can make those work or not. So we are working on that. Rockworth, we touch base with them, maybe not on a daily basis anymore, but we're talking to them weekly at least about their project. So this is something that's on our mind. We were talking with T. Rose, we're talking with Jen Keekle with her initiatives for the downtown. So this is, I would say, if we have a number 1 objective that is contained in the general plan, it would be that objective 1. We're working on downtown every day. So the other ones, there's some great things that were spelled out in the 2017 general plan. There's other places that we're working on, these neighborhood retail nodes. We just got a grant from WFRC to do some work up at the, what do we call it, the Oakwoods Plaza up there on 9th East. So that's gonna be another area we're gonna do some study for some land use up there. Probably more focused this time on retail and less on housing, but there'll probably be a housing component to that as well. But land use includes commercial land use as well, so we're gonna have that conversation up there. You can see the other ones. I wasn't gonna spend a lot of time unless there's one of those objectives you want to talk about, that we gave the copy of those to you. But just know that what we are doing on a day-to-day basis reflects the priorities that have been identified in the general plan. And some of those, there's changes, right? As we go through, we've talked about the changes to the office market. That's gonna be part of what we're gonna talk about with the economic development strategic plan. We need to be constantly updating these as the market changes and as we respond to changing priorities that are identified by you and by the mayor. So, any questions about the general plan before I move on to?
Yes, I want to ask you about nodes. I mean, I've asked that for years, and what are we doing? I mean, we don't have nodes. I'm wondering if we ever will.
Yeah, so this 9th East initiative that we've got funded by the Wasatch Front Regional Council is an opportunity to kind of start looking at those nodes. That would be that Oakwoods Village node right there at 9th East, and I always want to say, is it 56th or 59th or there? It's 56, right? I don't know why that, I know it is, but I always, for whatever reason, I've driven down there many times. For whatever reason, I want to say it's further south. I think because Vine Street winds, right? So you're like, am I at 59th now? No. So that's going to be one of our first opportunities. And the reason why I say that is that a lot of times we have these station area plans where we're talking about residential use adjacent to transit. Those are the areas that the state has identified they need to be areas that we prioritize because we have good transit access. But we want to start looking at areas that are outside of those transit access areas, like 9th East and 5600 South, that can be not just looking at residential, but looking at it from a commercial perspective. What do we need to do to encourage the type of land uses we want for that type of node? So that's been awarded to us. We just signed the contract this last week, so we're going to start that process. You'll all be involved as we go through that planning process, be invited to be involved, as we'll have neighborhood meetings and all those kind of things that go with that type of planning.
What's been awarded to us?
It's a grant from Wasatch Front Regional Council it's from the Transportation Land Use Connection Program, so we'll be studying that area and coming up with
That 56 and that.
56th and 9th, yep. The Oakwoods small area plan is what we call it. So that's one area where we're looking at nodes, but you know, some of these other areas, did you have something on that?
I will say there's also kind of these informal nodes as well that we have around the city. There's Ivy Place around that new development there at the Royce. There's obviously Fashion Place. It's
But Fashion
creating
Place
these.
is a node.
It's creating these, so as far as like the neighborhood aspect of it, it's adding to these, and creating kind of, taking it from that informal, kind of existing, infrastructure of businesses and creating a more neighborhood environment around those.
Can you tell me
Great idea.
noise? Give me an example.
We need to do it.
Can you give me an example of it? A noise.
A node.
A node?
Nose.
You can't because we don't have time.
Or a nose.
What?
What? You can't?
So,
Right there, 9th and 9th.
9th and 9th.
yeah, 9th and 9th, you talk about nodes in other places, or?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, 9th and 9th in Salt Lake would be a node.
There's
It's a place that's
restaurants,
outside of
shops.
your traditional downtown that is either a commercial or a mixed-use kind of hub.
And gathering
It
place
has,
and.
it has neighborhood aspect to it, has business, it also has outdoor gathering
So like you were
space.
saying, Ivory.
Right, yeah, so there's a
No,
concentration.
Ivy Place.
He knew.
I know what you're talking about.
We were there.
There's a
Yes.
concentration of business, there's building kind of a neighborhood aspect to it. We would kind of have to look into, how do we have that kind of open space or gathering type of thing as well. So, there's ways to improve and create this area, but
But you do have nodes right now in the city. I mean, that Oakwoods Plaza is one of those. This is an area that's not along State Street. It's a satellite area where you've already got some good potential for commercial use. We've got an anchor there with Macy's. There's things that are already happening there that create this commercial node. It's just a node would just be defined as an area outside of that kind of traditional Main Street or traditional, State Street is kind of our, it's the main commercial thoroughfare. So we're looking at areas outside of those areas.
Got it.
Yeah, it's such a great concept. I mean, I
There's
keep
potential.
hoping we need
Well,
to.
now I know what it is.
Anything else on the general plan before we talk about just kind of general priorities, economic development? We can come back as we want to too. And I don't know why this is splitting that up, the word development up on this, because it looked okay on the created slide there, but we want to talk just about economic development in general. What are the best practices? So, and these are listed in somewhat in order of importance for what we do on our day-to-day work. So the first and foremost is business retention and expansion. So they call that BR&E sometimes in economic development circles. That is such an important component of what we do every day. What that means is that we want to visit with and encourage our existing businesses to continue to operate and even to expand. Why is that important? Statistically, the International Economic Development Commission has put together some statistics. 80% of new jobs and investment in communities comes from existing companies in the community, right? So that's a huge statistic. So we talk about recruitment sometimes and attraction, but really the majority of your bang for your buck comes from those folks that have already decided to be in your community. They've made a decision to be here in Murray. They want to be here. Sometimes they've been here for a long, long time. So if we can help them to stay in Murray and to expand, that's going to account for 80% of the reinvestment from businesses in the community. That's a nationwide statistic. That's just how it goes. So it's not unusual for a community to concentrate on that. That's why we do it. And we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing today, boots on the ground, in just a minute. But that's kind of our first priority, is to work with existing businesses, let them know that we support them, that we want to have them have opportunities to expand, and even at times, if we can help them to. Sometimes that means relocating within our community, right, to find a new place. An example of that would be Wagstaff Crane. They were on one side of Murray, on one side of the freeway. They relocated to a perfectly good location on another area of Murray. And they're a great business that we have here in Murray.
You have 5 minutes, John.
5? Thought we had 20 minutes.
He's got 10 technically.
10.
He started at 5:35.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I meant.
10 left.
I'm learning how to read a clock. It's the first thing. You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
So, second,
Sorry,
protection of areas for
misread the
job
clock.
creation. We look at those areas. We talked about one of those over the northwest side of town. So critical for us to protect areas where we have good job creation. Murray is uniquely situated. We have a very good, robust and diversified economy. I look at our city compared to others that I've worked in. The fact that we have that industrial zoning and the area for job creation is so critical for our city. So we want to make sure that we're doing things that protect areas for job creation, not just industrial areas, but other areas where we can create job creation. Why? Another one for our particular city is that great big hospital campus right just to the south of us. That's a job creation area. If you've been to Costco, you know the why, right? If you go over there at lunchtime, you're gonna see lots of people in scrubs that don't live here, and they're spending their money in Murray. So job creation is about helping our local residents have opportunities, but also bringing people here that will spend money and help our economy. So next one down there, I'll go through the last three fairly quickly. Fair and consistent regulation. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but what we hear from people, both under fair and consistent regulation and landscaping and aesthetic standards, is that it really does matter to businesses, particularly retailers, what a community looks like. They want to come to a community that's well-maintained, that has good landscape standards. I would also say this is one of the chief areas where we get complaints from businesses because they feel like, they have a focus. They want to be in business. They want to do what they do for their business, and sometimes being required to maintain landscaping and other things can seem difficult to them. They're not a landscaper. They're a cabinet maker. They're whatever you want to say. So to them, that can seem like, well, why are you asking us to do this? Well, there's a good reason. It's because as you make a community attractive, it lifts all the boats, right? It helps everyone because that's someplace that people want to be. Businesses want to be in a community that looks good and maintains itself.
Do you, on that one, do you hear on the opposite side too, of like, it's not like our standards are too low that we need to be higher, or is it
Yeah,
just,
we
I'm
do.
annoyed that you are making me do this?
We hear a lot from I'm annoyed, but we also hear, we met with the mall, for example, and the mall said that that's one of the first things that potential tenants bring up is, there's some areas that they think should be improved. I'll just be frank about it. On South State Street down there by the mall, there's some areas where they say we've had people comment that maybe we could do a little bit better of a job of having some, more landscaping and more, just standards that would require that. So we do hear from both sides. And the biggest thing is, as you've been to communities, it's something that brings people in. We have good landscaping, good aesthetics in the community. If we take care of all those other things, the recruitment and attraction sometimes just takes care of itself. I'm not gonna spend a lot more time because I want to give Elon a few minutes, but we can talk about that if you'd like in just a minute. So now I'm gonna turn some time over to Elon to talk about what we're doing on the ground today in those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to go through this quickly because I also want to definitely touch on that strategic plan. But as part of this report, we wanted to touch on current efforts and their relation to the existing priorities and objectives that we have. As you can see, there's already current efforts around business retention and engagement with our annual business survey. We've done 76 business outreach meetings. The goal of those is really to get insight into the business conditions, challenges, future plans, to identify opportunities for expansion and even retention for our existing businesses, help them grow. There are some that we hear are planning on leaving. We can't capture all of those, but there are some that we can help find a location to stay here in Murray and keep those jobs here and that is a vital part of our economy. On the investment side, so we do also have that part of business retention or attraction efforts, right? We want to stay proactive. We can't just let that happen. Obviously, there's a lot of things that will help that along, help it naturally attract to our city. But we also want to stay with proactive efforts. So we've engaged with 53 prospective businesses. We've had multiple meetings with developers and property owners to try to make sure that there's the space we need within our city for that future growth. And then also just, as Chad's already mentioned, there's other key actions and projects that we work on that tie directly to the objectives and strategies in the general plan with our downtown events, $400,000 in that housing investment, obviously strategic property acquisitions within our city, et cetera. And so all of those efforts are extremely important to our general plan, existing priorities, but also the priorities that Chad mentioned. You want to go to the
Yeah, and just to mention this, if you give them a time frame for some of this work, this is something that we're keeping track of each month. We send a monthly report to the mayor, keeping track of those visits and things that we're doing. Those numbers were 2025. So that's an annual report that you just saw. But we do this every month. We give a report to the mayor every month.
Yeah. And as a next step, staff is preparing to undertake a more formal economic development strategic plan effort. It's a national best practice for municipalities and EDOs or economic development organizations to have an economic development strategic plan or EDSP, or also called a CEDS, Certified Economic Development Strategic Plan. And so along with that, so economic development departments are often asked to try to cover multiple things. Economic development covers business retention and expansion, business attraction, workforce development, tourism, entrepreneurial consulting, it kind of just real estate development, et cetera. And a strategic plan is really designed to direct that work. So in our general plan, we have the objectives that are our long-term objectives. There are strategies within those to specifically meet those. This is to drill down even further and create an implementation plan with actionable items. So while we're providing these specific actions and directions moving forward, it really helps us to ensure that staff time and resources are being directed towards the highest and best use and the highest impact opportunities for that. And so we're going to be going through this. We already have bids in from consultants who are going to be working with us along this effort. The process, I put research and data very first. It will be data driven. It's in order to make sure that we're really meeting the market. These are shorter time frame than our general plan, and they're supposed to be reviewed regularly and on that shorter time frame. As an example, in our general plan, we have areas that call out specifically that we need to pursue Class A office space. At least right now in the short term, that's difficult, right? And so we need to be able to have a flexible adjustment there. We can still keep that as a high long-term priority, but we need to calculate our efforts accordingly. As was mentioned in the legislative discussion, there's new resources and changes on the legislative side that are happening annually as well. So that, there were changes to, CRA, HTRZs, FIZ, things like that. That needs to be regularly and in a short term adjusted, because these economic development strategic plans identify specifically resources and programs that should be pursued, and projects. There's opportunity zone designations coming up. That needs to be discussed. These things that happen in the short term, and we'll really focus on specific actions and implementation.
So this is the time for any questions you have for us. That's the kind of summary of that. But,
Get right to the chase. What can we as a council do to move this forward?
The Economic Development Strategic Plan. So
Move,
we,
not just a plan, but all of our economic goals that you were just outlining. We've got a lot of things, like what do we prioritize as a council?
I
What do
think
we do?
you've done it. You've funded, you've already approved the funding for this Economic Development Strategic Plan. We've been putting that funding away for a couple of years, my understanding. So thank you for that. That's it's a small effort, so it's not one of those great big plans. It's very focused, so it's the consultant fee is not one of those that we go out for a big RFP. We get 3 bids and we see who can do this work for us. It'll be a very focused plan, but you'll be involved in the approval of that plan. What that does is take these general plan objectives and goals, puts them into manageable chunks that we can work on a daily basis. The other thing I would say is, the support that you give for our local businesses through your efforts with the Chamber of Commerce are key. When they see that you support business, that's really important. You can support us by, when we do have folks that don't see that greater vision of why are we requiring some of these things that we require, you can help us by just supporting us, saying, hey, we have, our vision here for Murray is that we have a well-maintained, visually pleasing city that is attractive to business, attractive to people that come to shop. If you can help people to understand that there's a bigger vision than just that one individual tree that they don't want to put in, that can help us a lot in our efforts. So really, it comes down to that. That's just that kind of support from council is what really helps.
They really like when they see the council and the mayor at ribbon cutting ceremonies. They really do. That speaks so much to them that we would take the time out to support them and to be part of that.
It's always interesting to see just how much that means, especially to folks that are maybe new businesses here.
Yeah, especially when businesses are leaving Sandy and they're coming here. And it's not one, it's 2 that I've been involved with ribbon cutting ceremonies. And there's been 2 that have left Sandy and came here because we had the space that they were looking for. So it really means a lot to the owner of these businesses to see us there.
And as you hear from businesses, any problems or anything, feel free to also reach out to staff. We're happy to meet.
Would you be the main contact for that, or?
Either one of us.
Either one.
I always tell them that, if you have any problems, you go to Elvon, you go to Elvon. Yeah.
I know we don't have time to get into this, but I didn't hear anything about environmental standards or anything about, and I think that's really important for economic development because people want their employees to live or to work in a healthy environment, and so.
Yeah, you're absolutely
I
right.
didn't hear it.
I went very quickly because we were running out of time and I want to give Elvon time, but that third, fair and consistent regulation, that includes those environmental regulations. It's so important for us to have that. We've had experiences in my time here, before and now, where we've had to be, we've had to regulate some of those environmental concerns, and we're doing that actively, of course, with our smelter site and our the smelter site overlay district, the work that's being done. We talked about it just briefly, but in our ore sampling and all those things that are contributing to those environmental quality and those issues are so key. You're absolutely right. So very, very important, fair and consistent regulation. That includes those environmental standards for sure.
Can I make just one last comment? As part of this plan is meant to align our efforts with current market conditions and then also council and community priorities as well. So there will be stakeholder engagement, and obviously we'd like to hear from you as well, part of that effort.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. All right.
Thank you, Jeff, thank you, Elvon.
Last item, discuss the resolution approving and authorizing execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City and Salt Lake County for contribution of TRCC funds for updates and improvements to Woodstock Meadows Park. Jeff Martin presenting.
Hello.
Time's up. Congratulations.
All right, thank you very much.
like that.
This will be really quick. The park, Woodstock Meadows Park was acquired from Salt Lake County, needed quite a few upgrades and updates to the park. Our park superintendent, Bruce Holyoke, applied for a grant from TRCC funding to help pay for that, and was awarded $250,000 towards that project. That was awarded back in December.
Oh,
Your
okay.
freshman Parks and Rec director failed to approach you to authorize and approve that money being accepted, and we've started work on it, and we're hoping you will accept it now.
Anything to improve our parks.
So I have two comments on this. Number one, as I look at the application, it says the additional contacts. It's Kim Sorensen's email, so it looks like it wasn't your fault. Second up,
But brave to take the.
yeah, exactly. Your total costs are $300,000. So is the last $50,000 coming out of your Parks budget? Where's the last $50,000 coming
I
from?
believe it's from CIP funding, is that correct?
CIP. Okay.
Any
I
other
think this is
questions?
great. This is your park, right, Diane?
Yep.
This is
We
great.
need pickleball courts.
That would be nice, yeah.
This is,
So,
that's
Always
perfect.
approve pickleball.
Okay. Simple enough.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I believe we're voting on this at council meeting today.
What?
Jennifer, we're voting on this on council meeting today.
Yes,
Yes.
this is what we council.
Okay, so with that, we are adjourned. You got 30 minutes, team. Actually, 28 minutes. I am going to call this meeting of the Murray City Municipal Council to order for April 21st, 2026. We're going to excuse Councilmember Pickett, who is out today. Councilmember Bolin will be here momentarily. We also have the mayor, Jill Critchfield, Brooks Smith, and Jennifer Candy, our executive director. First matter of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Jared DeMann to do that.
Okay, there it is. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first agenda item is citizen comments. This is an opportunity for all citizens to come to the microphone and state any issues that they have. They have 3 minutes. Step to the microphone. You have 3 minutes. State your city of name and city of residence, and then fill out the form that Patty right here will give to you. So we'll now open this up to citizen comments. All right, seeing that there are none, we are going to close the citizen comments portion, and we'll move on to special recognition. Our first special recognition is the Utah Parks and Recreation Association 2026 Department of the Year Award recognition. We have Jeff Martin and Leanne Powell presenting.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to come and take a few minutes of your time. My name's Kevin Schmidt. I'm the president of the Utah Recreation and Parks Association and the director of the Oka Recreation Parks District. This is Leanne Powell. She's our executive director. The Utah Recreation Parks Association represents over 2,000 professionals in the state of Utah that work tirelessly to provide services and improve the quality of life of the residents. I'm sure none of us can imagine the city of Murray without Parks and Recreation. That's not a place that we would want to live. And so tonight, we're excited to be here to recognize the good people that you have working here in the city of Murray. And really want to thank the mayor. He's always been a good supporter, and the council for supporting Parks and Recreation and being advocates for improving the quality of life.
Excellent. So we are here to honor Murray City with Department of the Year. Before we do that, I did want to recognize down at our conference, we were also able to recognize Doug Hill with the Lifetime Achievement Award. And he has, 40 years, almost 40 years of leading Murray City, from being on the ball fields to being the chief administrative officer of Murray, kind of seen it all from all different levels. So we appreciate the great work. He's led the state as our URPA president. He also helped bring the 1997 NRPA conference to Salt Lake City. So we were able to honor Doug with that Lifetime Achievement Award. So that was very fun. In Parks and Recreation, we really have 3 main pillars that we try to support in everything we do. And one of those is obviously health and wellness. We feel like Parks and Recreation is preventative health care, and the more we can get people involved in Parks and Recreation, the less we have to spend on medicine and different things. So health and wellness is, we always want that to be a primary focus. Recreation for all, really reaching out into all of the parts of our communities and trying to reach all of our citizens and providing parks, open spaces, trails, and recreation programs for all of the community. And then conservation and sustainability, taking all of our open spaces and our buildings and being good stewards of of those opportunities and preserving what we have for generations to come. So when you think about a Department of the Year, what goes into becoming a Department of the Year, we have our annual conference in March. Prior to that, we take nominations for awards. This year we had over 90 nominations in 11 different categories. And then we get all of our past presidents in a room and let them decide who should be honored with these awards. And I think when you look at Murray City and some of the great things that are going on in this city, it hits all of those boxes, right? Recreation for all, conservation and sustainability, health and wellness. You look at some of your special events. So there was a Murray Christmas event, and specifically with that event, it was a free event. You had over 2,000 people involved in that, but it's going and finding the seniors and finding new citizens and new residents to come be a part of this, and so that they can really become immersed into the community. It's looking at your armory and the mansion and the theater restoration and looking at historical properties like that, and not just getting rid of them, but figuring out a way to bring them back to life and then provide opportunities for lots of other different citizens to be involved. And then it's just the quality of your programming and the people that you have. Obviously, you've had Doug Hill, Kim Sorensen, now we have Jeff Martin leading a great group of people that are doing great work. They're leading the state. And so for all of those reasons, Murray City was our Department of the Year for 2026. So we are just appreciating the time and the effort, again, to echo what Kevin said. They could not do the great work they're doing without your support and without your belief in your community and special events and parks and trails and recreation and all the things that are encompassed in that. They can't do the great work they're doing without your support. So to all of you and to the great department, you are the 2026 URPA Department of the Year.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Kevin. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, and good work to our Parks Department. That's awesome. All right, we're going to move on to a special presentation of the fiscal year 2026-27 budget. Mayor Hales.
Thank you. Leanne, who presented this, did she already have? Oh, she stayed. I love that. She is married to one of my best friends, Sue Pierce. You know the Pierces, Pam from Magna. Anyway, she's wonderful. We had that opportunity to go down there. I think I was the only mayor down there, wasn't I? And Leanne says, you know what? We're going to have a program next year that involves the mayors and the council, so that you can see what's happening with the ERPA, our parks, Utah Parks and Recreation. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. Just getting to go and meeting all these people and seeing what they're doing, it would be a huge benefit. So I'm assuming that's what you're doing, Leanne. Maybe she's going to say, yeah, that was a secret. I wasn't going to tell anyone that. But anyway, so we're excited. Thank you for being here. Kevin, also thank you for being here. And congratulations again to our Murray Parks and Recreation Department. That's kind of cool. I mean, for every city in the state, Murray got it, so that's cool. All right, I will go ahead. Do you need me at this, Erica? Anything here? No? Okay, good. Thank you, Erica and Brenda, who helped me put this together. We're here to present the budget address today, and want to welcome everyone that's here. Thank you for being here, council members, and citizens alike, and department heads, and all that are involved with this. Thank you for being here. Tonight, I'm here to talk about the budget for fiscal year 2027. There are a lot of numbers involved, but the real story is the future of our beautiful city of Murray. When we put together a budget, we use words like revenues and expenditures to describe it, but those words are really instruments to measure where we put our values, what we choose to protect, what we choose to invest in, and most importantly, what we believe is possible. This year's budget tells a story of stability, resilience, and optimism for what comes next. This budget came together the way strong families do things, carefully, thoughtfully, sometimes making hard choices, but always with the future in mind. We're projecting about $66 million in general fund revenue. We know the economy is uncertain. We know costs are rising. We know there are challenges ahead. We also know that Murray is steady and that steadiness is so important. You know, as years go by, I've come to appreciate something more and more. There are more people behind everything we do. The budget reflects that. Nearly 70% of our general fund is invested in people. That's our police officers, our firefighters, our public work crews, our staff who show up every day to serve this community. At the end of the day, the services we depend on aren't delivered by dollars and cents. They're delivered by people. This budget ensures we take care of our people. We've included a modest cost of living increase. I think, what did we say, it was 2% for the COLA. Thank you, Adam. And by the way, I had the opportunity to meet. I don't think most mayors do this, but I've always had an appreciation when someone involved me on the council. So we met with our budget chair and our budget vice chair and council director, and to be able to explain what we were going to do as far as the budget this year. So it was thank you for being there for us. It was great. Now let's see, when I get off, now I got to find where I was. It is our continued commitment to retain good employees and make sure we stay competitive so we don't lose the good people fixing our roads before sunrise, keeping our parks green, answering calls when something goes wrong, and to making sure everything just works the way it's supposed to do. You know, we've all witnessed that with power outages, with public works, sewer problems, and, you know, police, fire. I mean, there's so many that we could say, but it's so impressive because I've watched really carefully this last 4 years. It's amazing how they show up. And you know what? Most of us are concerned if the toilet's flush, if the refrigerator works. That's what we need to have to live. And so we are blessed with great employees. They're just phenomenal. Public safety continues to be a priority in both words and in actions. In fact, almost 50% of our general fund expenditures support our teams in police and fire. We're even adding an officer, not to grow for the sake of growth, but to meet Murray's needs and keep the patrol strength where it should be. Supporting our police and fire departments isn't optional, it's essential. We're also facing rising costs, including significant hikes in insurance. That puts pressure on our budget, and it's something we have to plan for responsibly to ensure we are taking care of our first responders with the resources they need to do their jobs safely and effectively. These are the kinds of decisions that don't make exciting headlines, but they make a difference in our everyday lives. And then there's things that make life in Murray feel like home. As we just talked about, our parks, recreation, arts, community programs. These aren't things that always pay for themselves, but they give us something back that can't be measured. Memories, community, beautiful places to gather, a sense of belonging. Some of you may remember when Murray set the stage. It'd be interesting, when we were writing this, I thought, it's not going to be many of us, but some of us remember when Murray set the stage for the Jordan River Parkway in 1970. At a time when the river corridor was undervalued, our city recognized its potential as an important public greenway. Through government teamwork and creative use of funding, our city helped establish what is now a 45-mile regional trail system connecting 16 cities. This example of environmental restoration, recreation access, and regional cooperation is a tradition that continues in this budget by investing in these quality of life programs and places Murray is known for. This budget also demonstrates something I strongly believe in: planning ahead. We're investing in infrastructure, taking care of our buildings, planning for future needs across water, streets, and utilities. We are looking at a 9.8 property tax adjustment. And I know that's never an easy conversation, but we asked Brenda to figure that out, and that is for the average home of 600,000, the median home, that is $3.80 per month per house. What's important to understand is this, making small, modest adjustments over time helps us stay on track with the plans we have for the future. We've asked our department heads to be as cautious as possible with their budgets, and they have already made significant reductions in spending. Again, for the average homeowner, this works out to about $3.80 a month, and it keeps our city strong and moving forward. It allows us to maintain the level of service our community expects, keep up with the rising costs, and continue investing in the things that matter without falling behind. I believe this represents steady and responsible leadership. This is my second term as mayor, and I served 3 terms as a city council member. From this perspective, I appreciate moments like this. We're not here today to simply pass this budget. We're here to continue the legacy of Murray City. A legacy of careful decision-making, a legacy of creative ideas about what a community deserves from its leadership, a legacy of caring for people who call Murray home. Years from now, someone else will be sitting here or standing, looking back, and I hope they'll say they took care of things. They made good choices. They left it better than they found it. That's what this budget is about, and I'm proud of that. Now we turn this budget over to the Murray City Council. We know that they will review and finalize the budget in the way that is best for the residents of Murray. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, I will now entertain a motion on item number 2 of the special presentation.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution acknowledging receipt of the fiscal year 2026-2027 tentative budget from the mayor and the budget officer, and referring the mayor's tentative budget for review and consideration. Am I reading the right one? Thank you. Consideration to the Budget and Finance Committee of the Murray City Municipal Council.
I'll second.
I've got a motion from Councilmember Cotter and a second from Councilmember Turner. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Ms. Cotter.
Aye.
Mr. Boland.
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Hawk.
Aye. All right, the resolution is passed 4-0. We will now move on to our third item, which is a statement that the mayor's tentative budget includes a proposed property tax increase. Brenda Moore presenting.
We just had a legislative update. Welcome to number 1 on the legislative update for property tax. So I'm going to read you this statement as I wrote it so I don't miss anything that needs to be said. So the Murray City Mayor's tentative budget, just given to the City Council for consideration, contains a property tax levy increase above the certified tax rate, which will be released in June. The city needs more revenue than it is anticipated to be collected by other revenue sources and the current property tax levy with anticipated growth. The proposed budget requires $1,224,110 of new property tax revenue, including the growth. The proposed amount is a 9.8% increase in the city's certified tax levy from calendar year 2025. This is just an increase in the city's portion of the property tax paid by a resident, not the entire amount paid. It is anticipated the amount of revenue required will change as the City Council reviews the budget and when the growth figure from the county auditor is known. The certified tax rate for the city library will remain the same as what the auditor will present in June. So they are not having a tax increase. The revenue increase would be used for additional police officer, additional overtime for police and the fire department, pay range increases for the city's police officers and firefighters, along with a portion of the required health insurance premium increases for all employees in the general fund. The city intends to hold a public hearing in August concerning this certified property tax rate increase. Notice will be given once the exact date is known. So that's the first part.
All right, thank you. We'll then move on to the presentation of the property tax impact schedule.
Okay, so it is also required, and you're going to see this property tax increase impact statement over and over and over again, and it will adjust as the amounts suggested that we need. So what is it? It's a new requirement under the law as amended in the 2026 legislative session. It's designed to make the public aware that the city is proposing a tax levy increase, and it shows details of that increase. So the Murray City Mayor's proposed budget, it would increase, and it's the 1 million of additional income. The current property tax revenue is 12.4 million. We need 13.7. That's how I got to the number. The estimated increase in Murray's property tax rate is 9.8%. The estimated property, if you live in Murray School District, overall, it's a 1.71% increase. If you live in the Granite School District, it's a 1.38% increase. The estimated increase to the primary residence, which is $602,900, that was last year. I don't know what this year it is $45.60. That works out to $3.80. If you're a business valued at the same amount, it's $82.91. So $628,888 of this is going to the police. There is a full statement. It is in your budget book on page 13, so you will be able to read this. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but it's a new officer. There is impact of what happens if we don't do the tax increase, and then how much is going for these things. For fire, the budget tax would change is $523,512, and then for the general fund that's left is $71,710. We did have, I was able to budget an additional amount of sales tax and other taxes, but not enough to cover the increase of the costs. Any questions? I have about 5 copies of this in the back. They are in the budget book, and it will be on the website along with a copy of the budget tomorrow, as soon as I give it to Brooke to do that. So.
All right, thank you, Brenda. All right, then I will entertain a motion on item number 5 of the special presentation.
I wonder if I could just add something. This is number 5, right, the resolution?
Yes.
So I want to make sure that we're exactly tracking the statute, and I have references to the finance director. I'd like to change to the budget officer. It's the same thing. It's not wrong to say finance director, but I think budget officer is what comes out of the statute. That if you look at, for example, second whereas clause.
Oh, okay. So I've got a motion to amend the resolution.
Well,
I guess
didn't make a motion,
you
but
can't amend.
No, I'm just recommending somebody do that.
So we have a recommendation. So then here's our first thing. So you're suggesting, so the point of order is, now I gotta get to the right resolution. Okay. All right, so the recommendation, the point of order is to amend the second whereas clause of the resolution that's currently not numbered, where it says April 2021, 2026 in compliance with that section of the code to the
Budget officer, and it may be simpler just to say anywhere there's a reference to finance director, change it to budget officer.
Okay,
There's
so
several
finance
references.
director, we're amending it to budget officer. So I need an amendment. I need somebody to motion to amend the resolution.
I motion to amend this resolution, as discussed, to put budget officer anytime it says finance director or director of finance.
I second it.
Okay. Can we just do a voice vote on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
Oh, opposed, say nay. All right, so by a voice vote, it passes 4-0 to amend the resolution. So then I will entertain a motion on any other motions, I should say. Okay, I will entertain a motion on the entire resolution.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution acknowledging receipt of the required statement that the fiscal year 2026 through 2027 mayor's tentative budget includes a proposed property tax rate increase and acknowledging receipt of the presentation of a property tax impact schedule as amended.
I second it.
I've got a motion from Councilmember Bolin and a second from Councilmember Cotter. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Bolin?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. Okay, then the resolution is adopted, the amended resolution is adopted on a 4-0 vote. Okay. We will now move on to the consent agenda with Mayor Hales presenting.
This is Jared DeMann, if anyone doesn't know who he is. I think we all know who Jared DeMann is. Thanks for being here, Jared.
Thanks.
We had an opportunity to visit with Jared, and you had the opportunity to see his resume, and you will see that what we saw, that Jared is a great fit for this. He loves Murray City, he's lived here, he grew up here, his family's, if you haven't heard of the Demands, then you're probably not part of Murray. So, because the Demands have been involved with soccer and just everything. His grandparents were wonderful, wonderful people, Jack and Elsa DeMann. And anyway, so we're excited to present the name Jared DeMann for a confirmation of him being on our history board for a term of April 2026 through April 2029. And we'll turn that over to the council.
Any questions from the council? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to confirm the mayor's appointment of Jared DeMann to the History Advisory Board for a term from April 2026 through April 2029.
I second.
I've got a motion from Councilmember Turner and a second from Councilmember Bolin. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Bolin?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. And you, Mr. DeMann, you are confirmed on a 4-0 vote.
He said, I got them all. He was hyped.
Won't regret that.
The rest is history.
Thank you,
Thank
council.
you. All right, we'll now move on to the public hearing section of our meeting. Our first is to consider a resolution waiving fees for the use of the Murray Armory by the Murray Rotary Club on May 18, 2026 for a banquet honoring Murray High students, high school student outstanding scholars. Jennifer Kennedy presenting.
Thank you. As Councilmember Hawk just stated, this is a request from the Murray Rotary Club to waive the Murray Armory fees so they can hold an event honoring outstanding scholars on May 18th, 2026. The amount of this fee waiver amounts to a $500 non-monetary donation that we would be giving them. And I can answer any questions.
No questions from the council? Okay, thank you, Jennifer. This is a public hearing, so we'll open it up to anybody who would like to comment on this issue. Feel free to come to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and you'll have 3 minutes to address this issue. Seeing no comments, I'm going to close the public hearing section, and I will send it to the council for discussion or a motion.
I move to approve the resolution waiving fees for the use of the Murray Armory by the Murray Rotary Club on May 18th, 2026 for a banquet honoring Murray High School outstanding scholars.
I'll second.
We've got a motion from Councilmember Cotter and a second from Councilmember Turner. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Boland?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. And the resolution is adopted 4-0. We'll move to the second public hearing, which is to consider an ordinance amending section 17.48.140 and 17.48180 of the Murray City Municipal Code related to awning and canopy signs. Zach Smallwood.
Hello,
Floor is yours.
council. Thank you so much. My computer decided to freeze up for just half a second, I hope. It's been longer than a half a second. Anyway, I'll start going, and if it decides to work, we'll change that. So this is a request from Evergreen Company to amend the sign code regarding canopies, signage on canopies I'm going to unplug this, and above canopies in the TOD, Murray Central Mixed Use Zone, and the City Center Form-Based Code. Currently, our zoning only allows for the installation of signage on like a canopy or awning, so on like you kind of see those cloth canopies on buildings. You don't see them very much anymore, but they do exist. Their request is to allow for something to be placed on top of a canopy, as you can see on this image on your top left hand side up here. The applicants had proposed, no offense to the applicants, a very complicated calculation on what that sign area should be. After we reviewed it, we worked with the applicant to come up with a more streamlined way of measuring that. So a maximum sign face area of 1 square foot per linear foot of storefront, and then signs shall be limited to street level businesses only. Also, a couple other provisions. It may extend up to 6 feet from the face of the building and 1 per ground floor business entry or window. As well as typically we do not allow illumination of signs like on awnings. In this instance, we had recommended that individually lit letters, channel letters are what they are called, would be acceptable. Additionally, this was for all signage, all canopy and awning signage. This is specifically to the TOD and mixed use zoning districts. Really, it's just consolidated into the same thing. It's almost like rewording the exact same thing in a different spot. So it says largely the exact same thing. So here are some examples of what we currently allow. So as you can see, there's these awnings. I couldn't find a lot of good pictures because they don't do them anymore. So I made my own that says I'm a sign. So there you go. You get to see more of my art today as well. So here's my, here is the proposed. So as you can see, these lettering along the top there and on the bottom right. The bottom right is specifically the internally illuminated channel lettering. So it just lights up each word. So we wouldn't allow for like a box cabinet with acrylic in it, but individually lit letters like that would be fine. As promised to Councilperson Turner, I had a picture of what the projecting sign, it was projecting sign over like landscaping. I couldn't find one over landscaping, so I drew a little green box for you. It's the best I can do. I try my hardest. But this one definitely is not 8 feet above.
It was a good effort.
Yeah, good effort, right? So this one is definitely not 8 feet above just the sidewalk area. I don't anticipate us having that problem in the future, especially located over, I mean, this is clearly not over landscaping, but ours would be required to be over landscaping. So our findings here is that it would allow for broader applicability and easier for the general public and staff to understand and apply. Continuing to review and update these standards furthers the city mission of guiding growth to promote prosperity and sustain high quality of life for those who live, work, shop, and recreate in Murray. Has been reviewed to ensure that the health, safety, and general welfare of the community are maintained. The proposed amendment does not conflict with any recommendation of the general plan. And the Planning Commission held a public hearing on March 5th and voted 6-0 to forward a recommendation of approval to the City Council. So with that, staff and the Planning Commission are recommending that the City Council approve the proposed amendments to sections 17.48.140 and 17.48.180 in the land use ordinance. And I'm happy to take any questions. Or I can try to draw on the fly too, if you guys want better pictures.
I had expected bushes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will draw bushes next time. I legitimately thought about drawing them in, and then I was like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So going back to the drawn-in bushes, what will this do to like sidewalk widths? Are we going to compromise sidewalk widths to accommodate a sign?
Nope. So the way that this is written is that it's only, so the reduction in the sign height is only allowed where there is already landscaping. So the sidewalk standards are still required to be what the TOD and all that require. So it won't affect it at all.
Our canopies and awnings don't currently allow lighting in them.
The way that it reads is like it can't be, it's old timey. They used to like light up the back of the canopy to light up the lettering here, which we do not allow.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the new ones will be, and so as long as it's in an approved zone, like even if it's near a neighborhood, it could be a lit sign.
So this only applies to the TOD, the MCMU, and downtown. So it shouldn't be next to much residential potentially. I mean, in an extreme case, which we would probably check for. I don't know the specific code off the top of my head, but we would double check on things like on Center Street in the form-based code that does allow some commercial there. But we would keep an eye on that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
All right, this is the public hearing, so I'll open it up to public comment. If you'd like to speak on this issue, you can come to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and then you'll have 3 minutes to explain your thoughts. All right, seeing that there are no comments, I'm going to close the public hearing section, and I will give it to the council for further discussion, or I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance amending sections 17.48.140 and 17.48.180 of the Murray City Municipal Code related to awning and canopy signs.
I second it.
I've got a motion from Councilmember Turner and a second from Councilmember Cotter. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Bolin, sorry, I was going to call you Clark. Bolin?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. So with that, it passes 4-0. We'll now go on to our first business item, which is to consider a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City and Salt Lake County for contribution of TRCC funds for updates and improvements to Woodstock Meadows Park. Jeff Martin.
Hello, council. So as we stated in Community of the Whole meeting, Woodstock Park, Meadows Park was acquired from Salt Lake County. Some updates were needed to that park. Our parks superintendent, Bruce Holyoke, applied and was awarded a grant of $250,000 from the TRCC, Tourism, Recreation, Culture, and Convention. Work has begun on that, and we'd like you to accept a resolution accepting the fund and authorizing and approving the execution of that interlocal agreement. Any questions?
This won't include pickleball courts, right?
It does not, unfortunately, no, not at this time. Some of the stuff that was done was pavilion upgrades to soffit, painting, lighting. We've got some trail lighting that will go in there, the solar lights, and a lot of fixture upgrades inside the restrooms, so.
Just updating and cleaning up and,
Yeah, also a lot of the concrete around on the paths have been replaced too, so quite a bit of work that's been done already.
And we're utilizing the whole 250,000 right now.
Potentially, yeah. There might be some savings, but we would be accepting it all and then just giving back whatever we don't use.
Oh, okay, you use it or lose it.
we're gonna use it.
Well, we'll use all two, it's a $300,000 project. We'll use all 250,000 and then keep the rest in CIP.
Hardly. Hey, Adam, can I say something?
Yes.
Diane, you've mentioned that a few times. Do you want, I mean, is that a serious request that you're wanting? Because Jeff will follow through on that if that's what you want to do.
Yes, it'd be awesome.
I know it's a big, it'd be a big pull up there.
It would be wonderful.
There's a pretty good location for it.
Yeah.
We've already looked at it.
It'd be such a nice addition for that area, because we just don't have anything like that. And it'd be really good.
Okay.
We'll work on that.
Definitely.
Thanks, Mayor.
Yes, thank you. All right, thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Then with that, I will send it to the council for further discussion, or I will entertain a motion.
All right, I will make a motion to adopt the resolution approving and authorizing execution of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City and the Salt Lake County for contribution of TRCC funds for updates and improvements at Woodstock Meadows Park.
I second that.
I've got a motion for Councilmember Turner and a second for Councilmember Bolin. Brooke, call the roll.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Boland?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. With that, the resolution passes or is adopted 4-0. We'll now move on to consider a resolution adopting the Salt Lake County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Plan Mitigation Volume 1 and Volume 2, 2025 edition. Joey Middleman presenting.
Thank you very much, and thanks for that mouthful of the agreement. Nothing with emergency management goes without a few extra words. So thanks again for the opportunity to propose the updated hazardous mitigation plan. This is an update for the citizens watching from our 2018 plan. This covers everything from power, water, fire, police, pandemics, earthquakes, and more on, landslides, backups of anything you can imagine. And so this is over 2,000 pages with the adopted volumes, and it really truly is a guide. I wanted to provide the citizens tonight with just a little bit of an update. We have improved over the past since our 2018, our power backups, our water, fire suppression with special ops, as well as police integrated response with fire, pandemics, earthquakes, and some of the rail line integrations that we have with working with them. So we ask if the council would please approve the resolution as stated within the notes for the Multi-Jurisdictional Hazardous Mitigation, Volume 1 and 2, along with the county. So, thank you. Any questions?
All right, I will entertain a motion then.
I move to approve the resolution adopting the Salt Lake County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Volume 1 and Volume 2, 2025.
I second that.
I've got a motion for Councilmember Cotter and a second for Councilmember Bolin. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Boland?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye, and it is adopted 4-0. Thank you, Joey. We will so we're going to do 4 and 5, present them at the same time, which is to consider resolution on the Murray City Municipal Council finding that a detention basin to be constructed at 4580 South Cherry Street in Murray, Utah benefits the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project Area, and then Chad will discuss also considering an ordinance dissolving the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project Area.
Did 3 and 4 together?
So we're going to present on 3 and 4. We'll vote on them separately. Since they
Thank you.
overlap.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate that. Mr. Chair, Mayor, council members, this, as was described, the first of these is a resolution that would allow for the expenditure of funds from the RDA, Cherry Street RDA project area on a detention basin that sits just outside of that project area. In the map, or on the map that's on the screen there, you can see that property outlined in red. That is currently the location of a detention basin, stormwater detention basin that's being constructed. Really, this detention basin is kind of the last piece of the puzzle on storm drain improvements that were constructed as part of that Cherry Street redevelopment project area. This is slightly outside, but it definitely will serve those properties within that Cherry Street project area. This is the last bit of funding that's left over from the Cherry Street project area. The collection period for that area ended in 2023. We have just a little bit of funding left, so that would go towards reimbursement of some of the design costs for that storm drain detention basin that's currently under construction. So we are recommending approval of that resolution that would allow for that expenditure. This is required to be approved by both the RDA board, which has occurred earlier today, and then also by the city council. Would you like me to move on to the next little chunk of that then as well, Adam?
Yeah, you can discuss that as well.
Thanks. So the next piece of this, as I stated just a minute ago, this area, the collection period ended in 2023. This is a long-standing redevelopment area. It was adopted originally in 1991, and this area has done exactly what it was designed to do. The area was adopted so that Cherry Street could be improved with sewer improvements, stormwater improvements, street improvements. It's done all those things over the last several years as the project area has collected increment. That's facilitated development. The properties that are shown here in this area of the map, those were, developed about the same time as this area was adopted, and they were able to do that because of some of this infrastructure that was constructed as part of the Cherry Street area. So again, this has been a successful area, but we always hope that these areas do well, and then eventually they're dissolved. So it's time for us. We have a project that will spend the last part of that RDA tax increment funding. Once that's been approved, then this area can be dissolved, and that would go through a process. If the council chooses to approve this dissolution, then this would go to the county for their process to record that in their tax assessment. So with that, we are recommending approval of both the resolution for the expenditure of funds for the detention basin located just outside the Cherry Street project area, and also for the dissolving the Cherry Street neighborhood development project area, that ordinance. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council? Okay, then I will entertain a motion on the resolution. Number 3.
I will move to adopt a resolution of the Murray City Municipal Council finding that a detention basin to be constructed at 4580 South Cherry Street in Murray, Utah benefits the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area.
I'll second.
We've got a motion from Councilmember Bolin and a second from Councilmember Turner. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Boland?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. And the resolution is adopted 4-0. I'll now entertain a motion on the ordinance, item number 4.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance dissolving the Cherry Street Neighborhood Development Project area.
I second.
I've got a motion for Councilmember Turner and a second for Councilmember Bolin. Brooke, call the roll.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Boland?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. And with that, the ordinance is passed 4-0 and Cherry Street has been dissolved. Well, the county still has to do some work. We'll move on to number 5, which is to consider an ordinance establishing a temporary land use regulation pursuant to Utah Code annotated section 10-20-504 relating to multifamily developments within the city. Chad Wilkinson and Zach Smallwood presenting.
Thanks. I'll probably just do most of this, but if we have any questions, hopefully Zach or I can answer those. This is a temporary land use regulation. This is allowed by state code. In this particular case, this temporary land use regulation would put a pause on the acceptance of applications for developments within multifamily zones. I want to be very clear that those are zones that are typically designated as RM in our code that would not include zones that are typically designated as mixed use or TOD zones. Those are not part of this, but those zones that do have that RM designation, there would be a temporary pause on acceptance of new applications for development or subdivision in those zones. The reason for that is staff has been working on an ordinance for several weeks, a few months now, that relates to some of the standards in those zones, specifically related to interface between multifamily zones and single-family zones. We want to give ourselves some time to complete that work and to make sure that those can apply to new developments going forward. So this would pause those applications for a period of no longer than 6 months. We've been working on this for a while, so we don't anticipate that this would take the entire 6 months for us to get that before the Planning Commission and City Council. With that, we are asking that the City Council adopt this temporary land use regulation, and I'm happy to answer any questions, or Zach, if he can.
Does the council have any questions? Okay, then I will entertain a motion. Thanks, Chad.
I will make a motion to adopt an ordinance establishing a temporary land use regulation pursuant to Utah Code and annotated section 1020-504 relating to multifamily developments within the city.
I second it.
I've got a motion for Councilmember Bolin and a second for Councilmember Cotter. Brooke, call the roll one last time tonight.
Ms. Cotter.
Aye.
Mr. Boland.
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Hawk.
Aye. And with that, the ordinance is passed 4-0. We'll now move to the mayor's report and questions.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that and would like to invite you all to something really special happening at the Murray Theater. We're excited to host an all-access week, a series of completely free events designed to welcome everyone and to experience the space of the week of May 4th through the 9th. We have a lot of public or advertising going into this. Here's what we have planned. Monday, this is for Clark. Monday, May the 4th be with you. Clark, you're one of the biggest supporters of our theater. Really, Clark is in that theater as much as the workers.
I thought it was because I loved puns. Both.
Funny guy. Anyway, and it's great. I love seeing you there with your kids. Anyway, May 4th, we're kicking things off with a movie night with Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Spaceballs. Tuesday, another night of movies with a showing of Coco. Wednesday, more movie fun with Coco and Star Wars back on the big screen. Let me tell you also about the big screen. They had some hiccups going on. I think that's what brought on my shingles. Oh, man, I'll tell you, not worth it. But anyway, but they've got it all fixed, and now, I know, Clark, you've seen this, and I don't know if others, but it is now fully the big screen, and Cindy and I, and Kim and Cindy walked in for a minute to see Batman Begins, and we really were going for 5 minutes to see it. We stayed the entire time. The sound, the movie Batman Begins was 34 years ago. It's clear. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place, and we hope you'll take advantage of that. You know, movies are $5, and the candy, the concessions, I almost said confessions. The concessions are, confessions are more expensive, but the concessions are pretty good. And I mean, a couple bucks for a few things. Anyway, so then Wednesday, I think I said this, but Coco and Star Wars. Thursday is bring your friend to trivia night to compete for prizes and bragging rights. Friday, live classic rock and roll. So anyone that attended the State of the City, the Flashback Brothers are back, and they will be performing Friday, May 8th. And then Saturday is, let's see, we wrap with the Murray Has Talent, a show celebrating the incredible performers in our community. A few of us, I know I'm going to be doing this, I didn't want to do it, here are going to be judges on stage. This is kind of cool because we've had two people. I mean, I'm sure there's more that have done this in Murray, but we've had two, David Archuleta and Lauren Allred, that won, and they weren't good enough to make it, so they did Murray. But look at them now, really. It's kind of cool, and we've had the opportunity to have both of them in the outdoor theater and the indoor theater, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We hope everyone will take advantage of this. Our theater is a wonderful place, and we are working hard on getting the word out. And we've had a lot of success. I have to remind myself, Jeff and Kim, remind me that we're into this 6, 7, 8 months. I want it done quicker. Jennifer, she always tells me, you need to pull yourself away from the theater. And anyway, I'm trying. I try my hardest, but anyway. And then also, good news, I thought Paul was going to be on the line with us, but Pam and others, Pam, that's your area too, have you seen those beautiful sidewalks being put in on 5400 South?
Yes.
And all the way from 7th West down to 13th West on both sides of 54. They're almost completed, and it is absolutely wonderful. The citizens have just pleaded to have a place to be able to walk along 54th. And just a shout out to Murray City employees, a lot of them, Public Works, and a lot of people were involved where they, parks, where they cleaned that area up. And Chad, thank you for going with us and meeting with all those residents that time. Some were not that happy with us, but I'll tell you, we worked hard to get that to come to pass. So thank you, Chad, Zach, for helping us. And thanks to everyone that was involved with that. That's a wonderful thing that's going on, Pam. Sorry, Joe.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
You know the sidewalks on 53rd that they're doing on the north and south side?
On the what?
The sidewalks on
Yeah.
53rd on the north and south side?
Uh-huh.
Are they going to do anything else, or is that just at the curb, gutter, and sidewalks?
You know, I will check into that. To my knowledge, is anybody here that can help me, Russ? I think it's just the curb and gutter. Yeah, I just think that's it. Beautiful, say it again?
Beautification would probably be.
By us? Yeah, we'll do the
We
beautification.
do have to do that?
Yeah. Oh, Pam's gonna, hey, did you see those, Pam looked at you, Russ, she's gonna be talking to you, so.
No, it's just that I think the state should do it.
Oh, yeah, we do.
The state
Yeah,
should take care of that.
we
That's
would-
their property.
We would like to see that done also, but anyway, but it's a huge accomplishment that we've been waiting for a long time. So anyway, thank you, that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and with that, we are adjourned.